Rights Project, and one of the big things I'm known for is I work with Sue Jameson. And we all know that Sue and Lois did the Olmstead case, and our work is Olmstead. What we do is we represent people who are in institutions, whether it's a psychiatric hospital, whether it's a nursing home, whether it is what they call an institution for people with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities, to get out and to have good quality supports in the community so they can live as independently, as much meaningful lives in the community. And we also represent people who are at risk of having to go into an institution if they don't get the supports they need. And along with the Georgia Advocacy Office and a lot of advocates, we were involved in the Justice Department litigation and ultimate settlement with the state. And we also do a lot of things around nursing homes. So today I just wanted to briefly talk to you about the good, the bad, and the Olmstead. Because there is some good, there is definitely some bad, and then there is the Olmstead work that all of us need to really continue to do. We are 12 years after Olmstead next week. And so 12 years ago, the great state of Georgia was under the obligation to serve everyone who they would otherwise provide services to an institution in the most integrated setting possible, unless they could come up with this huge defense. And has that happened? No. Lots of our brothers and sisters are stuck in institutions all over this state. And that is, that's a system that came out in the 1800s. It's a system of segregation. It's a system of discrimination. And we, together, have got to end that. There's also thousands of people on waiting lists, waiting for services. And it's just an outrage. So, the Department of Justice came to Georgia, and one of the misconceptions that I don't have to tell anyone here because we all know it, is the Department of Justice dealt with everything Olmstead. That is not true. The Department of Justice was just dealing with the psychiatric hospitals and the hospitals for people with intellectual disabilities. Nothing to do with nursing homes. And yet, people, and especially people in our state government, think that they've sort of taken care of Olmstead because they entered into this settlement with Georgia. And we've got to make it clear that that is not the case. Also, the settlement is just not going to cover everybody who needs the supports. But there are a number of things in the settlement, especially for people with mental illness. That's probably sort of the best news, is that the state is, both for people with intellectual disabilities and people with mental illness, the state's going to pour about $73 million additional dollars that they would have never done into the community. And they're going to shut down Rome Hospital, Georgia Regional Rome Hospital. That is a step in the right direction. And the services that are going to be part of it, a big part of that is going to be peer support. And a lot of us know that peer support is such an essential part of a recovery journey or a journey out of an institution and into the community. And it's all about the importance of relationships and how important one another is to each other in our journeys. And so peer support is a big part of it. Another big part of it, it's not nearly big enough, and so one of the people I want to take on is voc rehab, but one part of it is supported employment. And there is going to be a lot more money, not nearly enough, in assisting people to have real jobs for competitive wages that are competitive jobs. And so there's going to be new slots for people with mental illness. There's always been that availability for people who receive the waiver for people with intellectual disabilities. Although we all know that we have a system of haves and have-nots for intellectual disabilities, because if you have a waiver, you've got a number of services. They may not be perfect, but you've got sort of a system where you can get services. And if you don't have a waiver, you got squat. And there's a lot of people who've got squat. But one of the things I think all of us need to be really moving toward is employment. And Georgia Advocacy Office has always helped lead the way on that. We're at Atlanta Legal Aid getting interested, and I know everybody here is interested in. Let's get out and get some great competitive jobs and build a system where that's an expectation. And let's blow up folk rehab along the way. The Georgia Department of Justice Settlement, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We've got information on the internet. You can look at all of the different services. But what I do hope is that you're spreading the word about these services. You're educating yourself about these services, and then you're passing them on so that we can access the services and we can get feedback if it's going well and if it's not going well. But the most important people to get these services and what we've got to fight for are the people in the hospitals so they get out and get these services in the community. Because one of the things that is happening with the settlement, at least so far, is that a lot of the services are going to people who already have services, because those are the people the state thinks it's easiest to give them to, rather than the people who need them the most, who are the people in the hospitals. So that's one of the things we really need to push for. Now, the other area is all of our friends who are in nursing homes. Money follows the person does exist, and that is a light, but it's a light sort of down a tunnel. It is a system that has helped transition people from nursing homes into the community, but there's all sorts of barriers, and we all know the number one barrier to that, and that is housing. And so one of the things we have to really fight for to get people out of nursing homes or nursing facilities. It's not a home. But out into their own homes is to increase the housing and to work on that. And that's something we're working on, and we're happy to work on with all of you, and something we've constantly got to be pushing for. And of course, the best way to have housing is to have vouchers, because then it can be automatically scattered site. You can take a voucher anywhere you want to go. And with the Justice Department settlement, what we got the state to do is we got the state not to have to deal with the HUD and all the federal requirements that came with that. If the state actually could pour some money into housing themselves, because they're already housing people in nursing homes and other places. So they're paying the money already. Why don't we get them to actually pay the housing out in the community where people can really live much more successful lives and much more meaningful lives? And so we've got a framework now in the mental health world where the state is providing scattered site voucher housing, and let's expand that, especially for those getting out of nursing homes. And the state has sort of an obligation, because they've told the feds, and the money follows the person, that they're going to get people out, and they're going to make sure that they have housing. So let's hold them to it. Now, at Atlanta Legal Aid, one of the things I'm excited to announce, but one of the things we really need your help with, is that we have a new attorney who's starting in September, and her whole work is going to be getting people out of nursing homes. Her name is Jessica Folfoldi, and you're going to love her. She's totally committed to this. She's totally excited about this, and what I'm excited about is she knows what she's doing, because she was a paralegal for a long time before she went to law school. She's organized, she knows how to do litigation, she knows how to work things out, she knows how to keep things moving. But one of the things she's really going to be looking for is she's going to want to go to nursing homes and give presentations, and she's going to want to be able to share stories of people living successfully in the community. Because we can say stuff as lawyers, I can wear a suit and look official, but if people see others who also have a disability, who maybe haven't already lived in a nursing home at some point, or who know people who have lived in nursing homes and who are now successfully living out in the community, that is going to be the people that are going to much more be able to share the story, and who are going to convince people that, yes, I've been stuck in this nursing home for 7 years, but I can live in the community. Last, I have an announcement. We had an NPR story in December. And there was a series of 5 stories, and we've got them up on our Georgia Department of Justice implementation website, which I can get y'all links for if you need, but you can get the links to the NPR stories, and I'm sure a number of other places here have the stories. But there was a woman who King's Museum, and she'd been stuck there for almost a decade. And she's getting out this month. It just takes the power of the people. We've all worked on that, but she's one person, and there's so many more who could be living out in the community. So let's work together and make Olmstead much more of a reality in the state. Thank you.